Hello everybody and welcome into the Asphalt Outlaws Racing Truck Series live with Race 2 in the round of 10. And tonight we are at the last great Coliseum. That's right, it's Bristol Motor Speedway. Thank you all so much for tuning in. You're watching Austin Green on Ghost Racing Network. Drivers have gotten qualifying and they've gotten gridded up, and we're taking some parade laps here now. One thing that did catch my eye is the field continues to get a little bit smaller here as we get towards the end of the season, but that is because it's mostly focused down to the playoff drivers and of course the ones remaining as we are nearing what is going to be the Championship 5 here in just a couple weeks. So with that, let's get right into your starting order here tonight. David Traylor takes the pole for Turn 4 Racing, puts down a 14.792. Mark Beverly will roll off to his outside in second. Colton Hardy back in that third position with Clinton Woodby to his outside in fourth. Michael Newman back in fifth with Dennis Steele in sixth. Joe Yakes in seventh. Jonathan Herbert in eighth with Jesse Calloway ninth. And Jesse Wise rounding out your top 10. Eric Hegdahl from Opower starts back in 11th. It's Bill Hales on the outside, row number 6 in 12th. Evan Schilling in 13th. Jay Stinson 14th. Keith Prince in 15th. And Bertie Benty rounds out the field tonight. He will roll off in 16th. Looking at your race breakdown, it is the Sonic Graphic Design 175. We're in the Craftsman Truck Series. 175 laps is the distance tonight. Going to be a lot of rhythm driving. Guys are going to have to find that rhythm early. Otherwise, it is going to be a long race. 95% fuel, 4 sets of tires. 1 fast repair is always fixed setups, and there will be a stage break on lap 65. 3 green-white checkers if we were to need them. And notice, it is nighttime. Track temp, very cool, 81 degrees. Bristol Motor Speedway, half a mile in length, high banking in the corners, and one of the best short tracks around. 78 degrees outside, 79% humidity, partly cloudy skies, and winds at 4 miles an hour. Here we go. Green flag is in the air. We're underway at Bristol. Spinner early in the back. It's one of the playoff drivers, Michael Newman. I thought I saw go around. Yep, sure enough, and a couple others collected. Jesse Calloway as well. And then that's just Evan Schilling there coming to a halt. Doesn't want to get himself involved in any of this, so he'll wait for all the smoke to clear out, if you will, before he gets back rolling. And by the way, you might have noticed, but on the scoring tower, something that we meant to have gotten set up quite a few weeks ago at the start of the playoffs, but each and every week had something come up where just wasn't quite able to get it set up right. But nonetheless, this week we finally got most of the playoff brackets set up correctly, so you will notice next to the drivers that are still in the playoffs, and again, we're currently in the round of 10, we'll have a P next to their name and then a P next to their driver card whenever we show it, so kind of keep tabs on that. But here we go. Before we go any further, let's go back and take a look at this first incident of the night that involved Michael Newman, and I wonder if it's just him getting maybe a little out of shape here in the corner. Go to the chopper view first and watch 12 here. He's on the inside, rolling pretty well. Oh yeah, truck just snaps around on him. You see the fire out of the pipes. He was out of the throttle, but you know, we had an update, and I saw in the chat Discord channel these guys were talking about they were kind of afraid of how these trucks would handle here, or at least some of them were, and you're seeing some of these struggles here right out of the gate, but certainly got to attribute cold tires to that a little bit. There's the onboard view. I mean, he gets into the corner really relatively stable. From the looks of it, it doesn't look like he does anything out of the ordinary. The truck looks like it's nice and smooth and, again, set getting into the corner, but then right there just, I mean, goes around on him, and there's just absolutely no saving it. He got out of the throttle and everything, and the truck just went right around on him. And you know when you spin here at Bristol, if there's people behind you, you're going to get hit in some form or another, and this turned into quite the calamity corner here for a couple of trucks that had nowhere to go. There's Joe Yakes, last week's winner, as he plows into the 12. And then there's the big hit into the outside wall, along with the contact for the 4 of Jesse Calloway. And so we may see a couple of those fast repairs taken early here by Bristol with some of the contact we saw for a couple people. Here's another view full speed here from the static cam. It's just one of those things. I think we're going to see it a lot here tonight. You know, Martinsville, we saw a lot of cautions. I don't think we're going to see it tonight in the same fashion. I think all the cautions we see tonight are just going to be from everybody trying to figure out the way this truck handles here. You know, you get a lot of practice during the week, but you don't quite get any practice with a full field like we have here tonight, or in terms of what the guys are going to be racing with. So we look at one more angle there from the blimp cam. That's a really odd one for Michael Newman. Goes around quickly. There's certainly a lot of drivers that are going to be taking notes and have to adjust their driving style accordingly. All right, here we go. Pace car pulls off. Green flag back in the air. 6 laps complete at Bristol. David Traylor with a quick jump. He will get away from the field as they go through turn 1 and 2. Clinton Woodby rolling the outside. You got to think that's going to be the preferred lane, at least on these restarts. He's making it work. Traylor, you wondered if he'd be the kind of guy that would like this track. Considering it's one of the most technical ones on the circuit, I think we kind of knew the answer to that. That's yes. David Traylor feeling very good here so far tonight as he qualified on the pole and continues to keep the truck there for now. Further back, Jay Stinson in the 98. Rolls on the inside just behind the 11 here of Eric Hegdahl. Evan Schilling, I think he made some contact right there with the outside wall, but see what Hegdahl is rolling on the bottom. He's got a new paint scheme on there tonight. Good looking truck. The 4-wide broadcasting network. And oh, one off there too. That's Bill Hales in the 53. He's got some trouble of his own here. I wonder if he maybe also had a big moment here off of turn 4 and just had to catch the truck. Decided to fade back here a little bit and try to see if he can feel it out before he works his way back to the field. Clinton Woodby was looking for a challenge for second there on Colton Hardy for just a moment, but quickly fades back to that last podium position. Just 10 laps complete, but I guess I should say 10 already complete. They go by quick here at Bristol when it's only about, 14 seconds a lap or so. So there's going to be some strategy. Of course, you can't make it all the way. Now, I do think, though, that you can make it all the way here in this first stage, which again would be 65 laps. So if you can do that, that's the goal right now, is just to pick up any track position you can get. As I'm watching the driver cam here, especially for Colton Hardy, and he's fighting that truck a little bit. I mean, he's certainly holding that wheel pretty tight. It's got the white knuckles, and he keeps putting a lot of little inputs into it through the corner, trying to keep this thing nice and steady. But the best way to show you what I'm talking about here is let's actually go to the onboard. There's Colton Hardy. And look at the wheel movements here. He looks tense, and we see Colton with the driver cam at a lot of tracks as who would be with a big moment of his own right there. But let's hop on to the onboard view here with Colton Hardy. And we'll also bring up the track map. I'll try to break down a little bit of what a lap at Bristol looks like here. Of course, you can see with the onboard view, they cross the start-finish line and high banking into the corners. I mean, and the real-life races here, a lot of G-forces as well. We'll hold on to that conversation for now because caution is out. Trouble in the back. Can tell exactly who it is. That's going to be the 88 of Jonathan Herbert. Nope, Dennis. Yep, Jonathan Herbert. Sorry about that. Saw him in the 87 last night. Got the numbers mixed up just a little bit. Don't see any damage for the 88 truck, which is rare. So the fact that he kept it out of the wall certainly was doing something right. It makes me think maybe it was some sort of spin out of the corner. Either a spin out of the corner or got loose down the straight and was able to stop before he got into the corner. But to not hit anything here is quite the testament in of itself. And see where it all goes wrong here for Jonathan Herbert. Similar thing to what we saw with Michael Newman. This one, though, is just at a different point of the racetrack. Still on that bottom groove, though. And it's just Herbert turning the truck down the track, snaps around on him, and there it goes. And so, yeah, sure enough, the way that truck slid sideways down the straight is what prevented him from hitting anything. But he got really lucky that nobody else ran into him because, I mean, when he got sideways here, there was some trucks that had to just make an evasive maneuver to his outside as there was no way they were going to be able to slow down in time. And that was the two Jessies there, Jesse Wise and Jesse Calloway, Joe Yates, Stinson, Evan Schilling, Bill Hales. All of these trucks that had to make it around without making any contact. And a lot of the bigger tracks we go to, you have kind of a choice. You can decide as you see the wreck happening, are you going to go through it? Are you going to stop in time? But here at Bristol, if things happen too quick, you don't really have that time to maybe try to slow down. It's usually find the opening and try to shoot the gap. Very, very lucky for the field that 88 truck stayed down where it did. And overall, a good save for Jonathan Herbert. Let's go to the cockpit view, though, and watch this thing snap around on him. Right there on exit. He is running a little bit of that diamond arc, but still, to see it go around like that is just really weird. The only thing I can think is he was trying to pick up the throttle too early, realized he was going to wash up, so had to put a little more wheel into it, and the back tires did not stick. But no damage just means a loss of track position, so he'll be good to go as he gets the truck refired and back rolling. And speaking of getting it back going, we've just got the one to go, so we're getting ready to go back to racing. with what will be 20 laps complete. David Traylor still being scored as your leader. Colton Hardy, though, on the inside, actually, right now looks like might be... Nope, it is Traylor. He chose the outside, excuse me. So Colton Hardy second, Mark Beverly back in third, Clinton Woodby in fourth, Jesse Wise in fifth, Eric Hegdahl in sixth, Joe Yakes in seventh, Jesse Calloway in eighth, Bill Hales in ninth, and Jay Stinson rounding out your top 10. Well, if there was any questions about fuel or tire to the stage, they've been answered now, because with just 45 laps to go, that is just over a sprint here to track like this Bristol, as we see the green flag fly back in the air. David Traylor with another pretty good restart as he will take the lead. They try to shuffle in behind him. Colton Hardy's able to hold on to third, but he lost second to the 13 of Mark Beverly. Mark's got a little bit of a different looking paint scheme on here tonight for that 13 truck. Looks like either a gear wrench or a GM throwback. I know I think it's a GM throwback. It's a good looking truck at that, and I like the colors. So Mark Beverly, again, one of the playoff drivers who's looking to lock his way into the championship 5. And in fact, while these guys get back to it, let's bring up the points here pretty early so we can kind of talk about it as we go through this race. So as it stands right now, coming into this race, the leader in points, maybe shouldn't be too much of a surprise, is the man who's currently leading the race, David Traylor. Eric Hegdahl second in points. Mark Beverly fell back to third in points. I say fell back, still in the podium spot. Good place to be. And then Joe Yakes, last week's winner, gets himself as the first man locked into the next round. And that will be, of course, the championship 5. I do believe the win does indeed lock you in from the way it went, at least during the regular season. And Keith Prince sits back in fifth as caution is back out. Trouble again further towards the back. This time it's 2 trucks, maybe 3. Evan Schilling, I think Jonathan Herbert again, but this time I don't know if he got away quite as lucky. Yeah, he didn't. There is some damage on that truck. Looks like a little bit on the right front there, as you see that headlight kind of caved in a bit. So we'll take a look back at this before we go and talk more about the point scenario. So I think Jonathan Herbert's going to kind of arrive on scene to this wreck, which I think starts in front of him. Yes, it does. The 69, Jesse Calloway, yikes. Down in front of Bill Hales. Excuse me, I said Jesse Calloway. I meant to say Jesse Wise. So he got down in front of Bill Hales, and then you can see that Evan Schilling and Jonathan Herbert get together further back. Let's go to the cockpit view first. Is it more just trouble here? Another truck just snapping loose. Now, he was on the top. That's the first truck that's been riding the top of the racetrack that we've seen get out of shape here tonight. But, you know, cool track temp. Certainly would not have expected this many handling struggles early for everybody. You know, late in the run is usually when you expect things to get tight. But there's the hit for Bill Hales, who committed to the inside. But that steep banking here at Bristol means that those trucks, they start at the top of the hill. They're going to have to slide down eventually. And that's exactly what the 69 did. And that gave the 53 just absolutely nowhere to go. You saw Evan Schilling. He slid in after, I think, him and Jonathan Herbert tangled a little bit here, trying to check up for this one. This is the gearbox view. Yep, Herbert not quite able to check up in time, gets into Schilling, and then it sends him around. Back end scrapes against a safer barrier, but doesn't actually hit anything with this significant contact. So only damage he's got is a little bit of a scuff there in the left rear quarter panel. But he was able to get back going. Give you a couple more views of this one here. First off, from the static cam. Yeah, there's one big hit. Almost 2 big hits. Oh, he did actually hit the 69. I didn't notice that initially. So Evan Schilling may have gotten a little bit more damage on his right front that we just couldn't see through that view. And then there comes a pace car absolutely hauling the mail out of the pits. Let's just hear one more view from the aerial cam. And then I'll tell you what, I know it's... But watch a pace car right here. He comes flying around the corner here. My goodness, I don't even think you could go that fast at Bristol, much less on the apron. Moral of the story in this case, though, all 3 trucks able to roll away, but those fast spares, they're going to start going quick if we keep seeing the amount of damage that we're seeing accumulate as early as we are in this race. Not even 30 laps in, and we've already seen 3 cautions. And so now we'll go back to green flag racing here momentarily in the field in the hands of David Traylor. He gets another great restart. So he'll reclaim the lead as they're going to look to shuffle in behind. So far tonight, there really hasn't been much of a race for the lead. Traylor's won the restart game all night and been able to pull away, but the real battles have been for probably about 2nd through 5th. Mark Beverly is going to hold on to that second spot. Woodby fades to third. Eric Hegdahl looking to see if he can grab fourth here from Colton Hardy. On the bottom now, the 11 not going to be able to make the momentum work as the 97 gets a run down the straights. And Eric Hegdahl finally going to fade there as I think he got a little bit loose on the bottom, and that means he's going to lose potentially 2, 3, maybe even 4 spots here as he just can't get anything going on the bottom, and the freight train up top right now is about 4 trucks back. So he's going to continue to search, see if he can jump up here, but there's just nothing yet. Had a brief window there in front of Jay Stinson, but couldn't quite get to it in time. So we do go back up front. There's David Traylor. Now getting back to the points conversation, we ended with saying how Keith Prince right now, who rounds out what would be the championship 5 if it was decided coming into this race, as he sits 5th currently in points. Clinton Woodby in 6th, just outside that cutoff bubble. And then you've got Jesse Calloway back in 7th, Jay Stinson in 8th, Colton Hardy, Michael Newman. And I think probably maybe Jesse Calloway can point his way in. It's going to be a little close, but I think at least Jay Stinson through Michael Newman, and then maybe including Jesse Calloway. I think you just got to go for a win here. I think it's too close to call to potentially risk trying to point your way in here. I think you just got to go for it. If something works out, great. If it doesn't, maybe you get lucky and point your way in. But if not, at least you can say that you went down trying everything you could to sneak your way in. 37 laps here complete. Actually make it 36. It'll be 37 next time as they cross the stripe. And Clinton Woodby now starting to track down the 54, first truck that we've seen put a fight to David Traylor here tonight. Question is, where's he going to go when he gets there? Oh, gets really loose there. He had to get out of it. But I was just getting ready to say here, in Clinton Woodby's case, he's catching Traylor, but they're running pretty similar lines. Woodby a little bit lower entry, but still arcs it up the racetrack. And if he doesn't have anywhere to pass Traylor, he's going to be stuck here for a while. As David Traylor continues to run the top. That lane is working really, really good right now. These two have pulled away from everybody else. Mark Beverly, he is pushing the limits right now. I think he is the driver that's probably running the furthest up the racetrack. Watch a view from the right front here. And didn't get quite as high that time. Let's see if in 3 and 4, there you go. When you see that cam going through the wall, that means they are really, really close to it. But looks like this time he keeps his arch a little bit lower. Joe Yates back in that 4th spot. There's Colton Hardy still rounding out your top 5. Been a decent night so far for Colton. He's hoping that it can continue to go that way. Meanwhile, for Mark Beverly, only down 1 position from where he started, but he is still currently sitting on the podium. So for the driver who qualified 2nd, he's in a pretty good point scenario. Again, remember, had 2 wins in the regular season, as caution is back out for the 4th time here tonight. Trouble for Jay Stinson, it might look like, as the 98 a little bit slow here on the back stretch. I don't see really any damage here as he crosses the line. Yeah, the truck looks okay. So this could be similar to what we saw with Jonathan Herbert earlier, where it's just self-spin, the way these trucks have been handling. So let's go back and take a look back at it here. That's Eric Hegdahl just in front of him, and yep, Stinson's just going to lose it behind him there. You wonder if, in this case, maybe he had to get on the brakes a little bit more than he wanted to, but takes the outside, gets a pretty good run, late braking zone, and I wonder if that's what that was in that case for Stinson. Was just he realized that he had a much bigger run than I think he initially was expecting to get, and you could see he was going to run into the back of Hegdahl there had he not spun out. So I wonder if he maybe slammed on the brakes. He may have actually tapped Hegdahl. If he did, it was ever so slight, but actually, yeah, I think he does here, right there, and then truck just goes around on him. There's nothing he can do. Slides in the middle of the banking. That's a dangerous place to spin, but ultimately slides down, is able to get back rolling here. And a couple guys did have to miss him up top. That was Michael Newman. And then there goes Jesse Wise, it looked like. So that has been the story so far here tonight, is a lot of self-spins from a lot of different drivers. Top lane, bottom lane, middle lane, you name it. But the trend seems to be continuing here, and with handling being as much of an issue as it is, I think right now as a driver, you got to maybe kind of look back to what strategy did you play at Martinsville, if it was a strategy that worked, of course, because it's starting to look like it kind of has that feel to it. Again, 4 cautions here in just 44 laps. You wonder if we're going to kind of keep seeing these short runs all night. And if that's the case, you got to make sure you're managing tires pretty well, as you're going to need them for each and every restart along with every run. And you know, you can base a short run strategy off, you know, getting caution after caution, but there is always that risk that eventually we're going to get going green and we're going to stay green for a while. So you got to make sure that, of course, you have tires for that. As Jay Stinson will fall to the back of the field here, it looks like. And it is Mark Beverly who's now being scored as your leader. Joe Yates second, Jesse Calloway in third, Eric Hegdahl fourth, as David Traylor looks like he's going to fade back to that 5th position. And the reason for that here is we had some pit stops here. Looks like maybe about a quarter to half of the field decided to go in, but David Traylor was one of them. Clinton Woodby as well. And so that's got Woodby back in the 6th spot. So now we're starting to see the tire strategies get mixed in here a little bit. And it's going to be interesting to see as, you know, we're just about 20 laps or so away here from that stage break. If we can go green to that point or not, that's still a question up for debate. But Mark Beverly sits in a good spot. Let's see how he's feeling right now. Hey, Mark, this is Austin up in the booth. Get a copy.
Yeah, what's up?
Well, right now you're in a pretty good spot here. Still early on, but, you know, about 20, going to be just under 20 laps to go here to the stage. How important are these stage points?
Well, they're pretty important. Try to make it to the next round for sure. So, see if we can get them.
Absolutely. Well, it looks like actually you guys go green here a lot quicker than you'd think when it's a mile and a half, or excuse me, a half mile.
Absolutely.
But, hey, we'll let you go. Good luck the rest of the way.
All right, thank you.
And we pulled Beverly in just as we were, I think, getting ready to get the one to go, which normally we do at any track, but Bristol, of course, a lot shorter as the green flag back in the air. Mark Beverly gets off to the races as he's up the racetrack. And that's going to be the same line that he saw David Traylor running. And when I say running, I mean running away from the field. We'll see what the 54 can do now. As he's kind of in the bad position as he's got a lot of traffic to try to work through here. And with only about, 15 to 17 laps to go, and they're going to go by quick here. I don't know if the 54's got enough time to get all the way back up there. On the contrary, though, the 92 sure might, because Clinton Woodby was able to get clear and around this traffic in the first lap and a half, and now he's going to set his sights on the 13 machine of Mark Beverly. Oh, we got a spinner out back. It's going to bring the caution out again. And it's Jesse Calloway for the 2nd time here tonight. And so Jesse gets the truck looped back in the right direction. Boy, he came really close last week. 2nd place to his teammate, Joe Yates, but just couldn't. I think he needed either a little bit of a different strategy or quite a few more laps to get the job done, but he's still fighting to make it to that championship 5. He's one of the drivers that, kind of needs to go for it, and looks to me like he was certainly going for it right here. As just jumps the cushion, gets into the wall, and then Colton Hardy helps him out a little bit there as he had nowhere to go, and then Jesse Calloway spins, slides down the banking, and gets into the inside wall. Not a very hard hit, but still a little bit of damage on that front end that he's going to have to get fixed up here during a pit stop. And then this is the cockpit view. Yeah, he's just trying to push the boundaries of, how aggressive he can get into that corner, and he was close to making it stick, but the truck just wasn't able to turn in time, and when it washed up, he had nowhere to go, so he ends up in that outside wall. Let's look at a bit of a different angle there. There's TV2. Gets spun around, then Colton Hardy looks like he made a couple of tags with the outside wall there as he also had nowhere to go. Get one more angle of this here before we go back live from the TV static view. And I think, well, Jesse hurt himself but did the field a favor there by holding the gas. Hurt himself by, of course, making some contact with the inside wall, but helped the field by getting out of the way quick enough and not having to worry about taking maybe a bigger hit. So nice job there by Jesse. Also was able to stay on the lead lap. That's a big thing here too. We haven't talked too much about it yet, but it's so hard here to stay on the lead lap after you get in a wreck, because it only takes one of these trucks at speed about 15 seconds to go around this track once. So you figure you're at the middle back of the pack, even if you're 3 to 5 seconds back, even less than that, you've only got about 10 seconds to stop sliding, spin around, and get going before you're going to be in danger of losing a lap. And now already we've got 3 trucks out of this race, by the way. Brody Benty, I don't know if he started. I believe he may have had an issue. I think the same deal goes for Keith Prince. Dennis Steele right now being scored 2 laps down as he continues to struggle right now, but looks like he's off track. And then there's the 88 of Jonathan Herbert, who right now is the last truck on track, and he sits 2 laps down as well. And then you've got Jesse Calloway as the last truck on the lead lap. Evan Schilling back there as well, along with Michael Newman. And so now it'll be about a 10-lap shootout here to the stage, which we will expect another caution then, but about 5 cautions already. If you've got an over-under count guess, put it in the chat. I'm thinking we go at least, I'm going to say at least 10 cautions here tonight. And again, I'm not putting it so much on the drivers. Of course, you know, it's one of those things that obviously I'm not saying it's not the driver spinning. What I'm getting at here, though, is these guys practice during the week. They got used to some things, but it's still a new update, and these trucks drive very different than they did before the update, so I think everybody's still getting a feel for that. So far with 54 laps complete, I think the man who's gotten the best feel for it is either that 92 or that 54, Clinton Woodby or David Traylor. But Mark Beverly, he's been kind of the guy who's going with a little bit more of a gamble strategy, and it's paid off. If he can get another good restart here, get clear, we'll see if he can hold everybody off. Notice that, though. Look at all the Ps right now that are inside your top 10. Those are, again, playoff drivers that are currently in the round of 10. And we've got one more race after Bristol here tonight.
Green, green, green.
Green flag is back in the air. By the way, I meant to say we have one more race until we move on to that Championship 5, which will be at Kansas Motor Speedway. Beverly off to the races. Traylor would be side by side. That's exactly what Mark Beverly wants to see. The problem is, I think David Traylor is not going to be necessarily too patient here. He knows he's got a fast truck. He knows that he can get around this 13 if he can get clear of this 92. Problem is, he's struggling to do that part of it. As we go to the onboard view there for David Traylor. He's got the sim gloves on and rolling on the outside. But how about this power move as Clinton Woodby? He is going to take the lead over from the inside line. First truck we've seen be able to do that here tonight. Did a bit of a slide job right there, as he is now going to try to hold on for the next 8 laps here to capture what I believe might be his first stage win of the playoffs. Traylor tried to slide up. Oh, man, ever so close, but just still not quite enough, at least not that time. Now the 54 is finally going to be able to get clear of the 13 on exit of turn 4. Just going to be 6 laps to go. 5 actually when we cross the line next time. You wonder, does David Traylor have enough to track it back down? And even if he gets to Clinton Woodby, what does he do with them? Oh, hold on to it. Colton Hardy out back. What a save for Colton Hardy as that truck went all but around. I don't know how he held on to that. Quick hands and even quicker thinking right there for Colton Hardy. Nicely done. And back up front, Traylor still stalking in the footsteps right now. He's only about 0.3 of a second behind. Both drivers in the playoffs, they both want these stage points really bad. They know how crucial they could be. David Traylor, who led the most laps early. We saw Clinton Woodby track him down, and we said it was one thing to catch him and another to pass him. But I think now that we've seen what he can do when he gets by, that might change his mindset up a little bit of how aggressive he's willing to be to get to the lead. But right now, he's got the best view in the house as he does lead. 54 of David Traylor in second. And then you've got Mark Beverly back in third, Eric Hegdahl fourth, and Joe Yakes rounding out your top 5. Here we go. 2 laps to go in the stage. And on the bottom, David Traylor tried to hug a little bit more of the bottom there. He's trying. Now he is going to go all the way to the bottom of the 54, looking for a slide job right here. Can he get it to stick? No, he can't. Actually, that might have been the stage right there. As we did just take lap 65, I believe it might be at the start instead of the end here.
All right, man.
And sure enough it is. 54 continues to fade. And just like that, your stage winner. Looks like it is going to be Clinton Woodby in the 92. Traylor tried, but just could not quite make it happen. Nicely done there by Clinton Woodby. All right, so 66 of 175 laps complete. Expecting quite a few pit stops here, at least from, I would say, maybe, I could go all the way back here. This thing seems like it keeps going here, but somebody who, well, we've got a couple guys that already pit that are probably going to stay out here, and then some guys who didn't that'll go in. So we'll have any updates on that and more when we come back. Stick with us. We're going to go side by side at Bristol. Back live at Bristol Motor Speedway with Stage 1 winner David Traylor. David, this is Austin in the booth. Got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Austin.
Well, real quick before you go back, green, so far so good through that stage, or excuse me, so far so good, not stage winner, but you got second. And the reason I call you here is because you look like, you know, you said the truck's a little different. What's been the most different about it?
This thing is, I think we're driving on ice tonight, so I'm just going to try to keep it under me and see how this next 100 laps turns out.
All right, it's been a battle all night between you and Woodby. Woodby got the best there on the stage. We'll see if you can get the best of them at the end.
Thanks, Austin.
All right, put David Traylor back down to his team. Green flag back in the air. As I misspoke there, saying stage winner. Meant to say Clinton Woodby, of course, stage 1 winner, but I wanted to get word there with David Traylor. I know we normally talk to your stage winner, but Woodby's got speed. I think we're going to be talking to him for sure at the end of the race, but David Traylor, one of the guys who, of course, has, you know, a lot of experience in these trucks, and he was talking about it during the break there, that these things, they feel a lot different than they used to. It feels like the trucks almost have a lot more power than they used to now, so at a track like Bristol, that can be a tough task to kind of tame at first. Doing a good job at it, though. Not as good as Clinton Woodby, who continues to lead this race with 73 of 175 laps complete, nearing that 100 to go marker. 0.2 seconds is the gap right now between your leader and second place. Eric Hegdahl, who settles into third. Colton Hardy back in fourth. Mark Beverly rounds out your top 5. Jesse Calloway maybe looking for a position here on Jay Stinson. We'll see if he can find a way around through the corner. He's going to look low on exit. Can't do it. His caution's out. Got some more trouble here. I think this is further back. Yes, it is. We got one spinning towards the inside wall. Jonathan Herbert. As that'll bring out now your 7th caution here of the night. And so Jesse Wise is on the pits. That's not the truck that we saw involved, but this one was the 88 machine. The Ridge Power Sports. Jonathan Herbert, this time he does have pretty significant damage to the front end. He lets Evan Schilling go by, but got a report that was Schilling involved in this one as well. I didn't think he was, but he may have been. See, so here comes the 88 around turn 4, and he just looks to me like he just gets loose now. Oh, well, this might explain some of it here. Evan Schilling looked like he was pretty much stopped up against the wall. This actually starts all the way up with Jesse Wise. Watch the 69 here. Same thing as we saw earlier for Jesse, running that same line up top, and the truck just snaps around on him here, and when it does, he's going to... Oh, man, the 18 of Schilling tries to miss him, can't quite do it. And then you saw Jonathan Herbert trying to shoot the gap, but as the 88 slid up, or excuse me, the 18 slid up, the 88 only had really one direction to go, and that was towards that inside wall. Watch it from his cockpit view here. And right there, he sees it, tries to drive it down, and he missed it, but fortunately the truck just too out of shape with that much input and couldn't keep it straight. Did stay in the lead lap, but it's going to lose that here, as he'll have to go in and fix some damage. And we take 1 or 2 more angles of this one here with TV static cams. There's the hit. It's Jesse Wise, man. It's been a struggle so far for the 69 truck tonight. Had to win a couple weeks ago to make the round of 10. Came close, but couldn't quite do it. And so now he's just out here racing for bragging rights and chance at potentially building some momentum into next season. Fortunately, though, that's about it right now. So we'll go back live, and up front, guess who? Clinton Woodby still leads as he led us into that caution, and he'll lead us back to green. David Traylor sits in that 2nd spot. Eric Hegdahl in 3rd. Colton Hardy in 4th. And then you've got Mark Beverly currently rounding out your top 5. Jay Stinson in 6th. Jesse Calloway in 7th. Joe Yates 8th with Bill Hales in 9th. And Michael Newman rounding out your top 10. We had a chance to speak, of course, to David Traylor, who finished runner-up in that stage. But since we got an early caution, let's go ahead and try to get another word here. But this time with your stage winner, Clinton Woodby. Hey, Clinton, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, bud.
So far, so good. Of course, you won the first stage, but the name of the game so far has been cautions. I mean, a lot of short runs. How does that kind of change your strategy now for the rest of the race?
Just kind of makes you have to go a little sooner, I guess, because all the caution laps, everybody has fresh stuff still, so we're all just kind of pushing the pace a little bit more right now than we normally would be. But should be a good finish.
Certainly should be, but still just under 100 laps to go. Plenty of ways to go. We'll see if we're seeing you at the end of this race. Thanks for giving us a quick word.
All right, appreciate it.
Green flag is back in the air. That was Clinton Woodby, driver of the 92. That's a good looking truck too. Always carries all the support for all the sponsors and everything they do for this series. Of course, with Sonic Graphic Design, sponsor of tonight's race. Can't forget about Nirjuana either, along with the winning bid, Diecast Auctions. I believe I was trying to get that second part of the logo right. Clinton Woodby's got a good view for us though if we want to see any more about it, as he's got it stapled on the front of his hood. And there you see the winning bid, NASCAR Diecast sales and card breaks. And of course, anything that the sponsors do always helps out the league in terms of prize payouts for the races. Helps with just about any aspect you could think. And anytime you have drivers showing support like that by putting logos on the car, as Colton Hardy does right here, certainly means a lot to them. So here we go. I mean, 83 laps to go. We're starting to, I know it seems like a long ways to go, but I'm telling you, the laps go by quick here. Even with the cautions, it seems like they're going by pretty fast. And once we get to, you know, that 100 lap mark, 75 to go here, about 90 laps to go at where we stand right now. And so not going to be able to make it all the way on fuel still, I don't think. Definitely going to have to make a stop for that. But if we start getting a couple more cautions, then it might start to become a lot closer on fuel in terms of not having to make a green flag stop at all. But right now, David Traylor, he's taking Clinton Woodby's advice, and that is, he's being aggressive here, staying up front, because he knows that he's got fresh stuff, but with all these caution laps, he may not get an opportunity to use it here. And so any green flag laps we get in, that 50, oh, the 92 goes around Clinton Woodby. No, what happened to your race leader? I think he actually saved that truck. I don't think he actually hit the inside wall, but oh man, all of his progress, the stage 1 win, the track position he got from it, all down the gutter. After just a slight slip up from the lead, I think he was feeling the pressure from David Traylor, but I think he saved this truck, and I cannot believe he did. Watch this for the 92. So he goes around, headed towards the inside wall, and then just somehow wiggles his way off. Oh my, I cannot believe he didn't hit that wall. We got to go back and show you this one more time here from a different angle. This is absolutely incredible stuff here from Clinton Woodby. Watch this here from the static cam. So he gets loose, and as he goes down here, see if we can switch the camera just beforehand. Not going to quite be able to do it, so I'll show you this. How about just showing it from the rear chase view? I mean, this shows you not only how close he was, but watch his hands here. And I mean, you know, we might have a vote for the save of the night. I think we might as well close it. That's the save of the night, and it's not going to get beat. I cannot believe he did not hit that inside wall or overcorrect and go back into the outside wall. What a save for Clinton Woodby. Fortunately, though, as a result, he has fallen back to 8th, but still in the top 10. And with the spread out as things are right now, I mean, I say he's in the top 10, but we've only got 10 on the lead lap. Jonathan Herbert, along with Jesse Wise, Jesse Calloway, Dennis Steele, Keith Prince, Brody Benty, all either out of the race or have some issues that have them not being scored on the lead lap. So I think that'll continue to kind of be the trend too as this race goes on. But David Traylor, he seems like he's been the most poised driver at this point tonight. Woodby maybe arguably the fastest, but Traylor has been the only one that really hasn't made any mistakes yet. Granted, hopefully I didn't just give him the broadcaster's jinx, but certainly got to admire what the 54 is doing now up front. Further back, though, the battle is on for that second position. Actually, the third position here is Colton Hardy. Looks to pull away a little bit. That'll make it now the battle for 4th between Mark Beverly and Jay Stinson. Joe Yates, Michael Newman, they're going at it. Newman's still on the bottom. That truck looks like it is a handful for him as well. We saw him spin on the opening laps. Tonight's race, there goes Joe Yates. That'll be another spinner. Joe Yates slides down the track. Into the pits he goes. Nope, he's going to be able to get back on track without going all the way through the pits. Joe Yates just another victim to what has been a struggle here tonight to figure out these trucks for a lot of different drivers. Watch him as he gets in the corner here. Gets up the racetrack, puts some wheel into it, and again, the truck just really snaps around on him. Nothing he can do about it. All right, so as we go back live, Looks like Joe Yates is now falling back to 9th. Clinton Woodby making a nice recovery as he's back up to 6th right now. David Traylor, though, still leads by about half a second over Eric Hegdahl. Eric, of course, the only one of the Mo-Power drivers in the playoffs and the only Mo-Power driver still left on the roster for the season. And we'll complete the 100 lap marker as we cross the line this time. 75 to go. I think that fuel window, to be safe, maybe opens up somewhere with around 40 to 50 to go, as you know, somewhere around the earliest you'd want to think about going in terms of comparing that fuel window to being safe, and then also what tires are going to be looking like and making sure you have hopefully a set for the end if you need it. But I don't know if tires are going to be the deciding factor in this race. Passing has been a struggle. I think it's going to be all about track position. I think if you're the leader on that final restart, I think that's going to be who wins this race. As just short track, you get a good jump. That's enough of a lead to last you for 2 laps. And you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be decent. So far, David Traylor has been more than decent so far tonight. Eric Hegdahl now starts to close in, though, a little bit. He's got that gap down almost 0.2 of a second here over the course of the last handful of laps or so. So we hop on board here with the 11 truck and see David Traylor run on the top. Now, we haven't had the opportunity to get into anywhere close to long enough of a run to actually see, you know, which lanes may be better on older tires. You'd almost think maybe the bottom would start to maybe not prevail, but whoever was on the bottom early on would have more speed up top late. But right now, David Traylor still looks strong up top, still holding that half a second lead as track temp sits right now at 83 degrees. That might have actually warmed up a couple degrees from where we started this race at, as we are now at about 10:45 sim time. Eric Hegdahl, the driver out of Travelers Rest, South Carolina. And man, oh man, he's going to put another one lap down here. Actually, that's Jonathan Herbert, who's in not his first lap, but probably his at least 4th or 5th. As caution is out. Trouble further back. Can't find exactly who it is just yet. Was it? I believe it might have been Evan Schilling again. There's the 18 and looking for some damage. That left quarter panel damage he had earlier, but the right front might have been from earlier as well, so I'm not sure yet if he hit anything on this one. But 107 laps now complete. So this will give us a restart within 65 laps to go. All right, here we go. Let's back up and see what happened here. So this looks like off at turn number 4, I believe. Or maybe onto the back here. We'll find out as he gets onto the apron there, and the truck just starts to slide, and eventually around he goes. Very interesting look there for the 18, as I'm not sure why he got onto the apron. I think if we back this up more, might explain a little bit why. Was he trying to make to the pits here? No, he's not. He just gets loose, and he's using that apron to save it, but then as he gets down there, gets into the marbles, and then the truck just goes around on him. Well, that certainly explains that a lot better. As look at the TV static view here. Watch. Actually, we'll back that up again even more, and boy, he was lucky this wasn't worse, because he had the leaders coming in his rearview mirror there, and David Traylor and company is lucky to have not ran into this 18 truck. As you see him go for a spin, now he's going to go for a slide, but keeps it locked down and is able to miss hitting that inside safer barrier. All right, so we go back live now. You wonder, is there going to be any pit strategies? The answer is yes, there will. David Traylor looks like he chose to bring it down, and I think that would probably indicate that anybody that pit here feels like that we are in that fuel window. As fair enough. I mean, it's going to be 65 laps to go here at the very most, so that's going to be at least the distance of stage 1, or rather, I guess I should say at the max the distance of stage 1, maybe a little bit less here, depending on how many more laps we pace. And so what seemed like was going to be one of the longer races of the season continues to so far be one of the shorter ones, as we are well over halfway through. 110 laps complete as David Traylor crosses the line. Looks like he will retain the lead here for this restart. Eric Hegdahl 2nd, Mark Beverly in 3rd. Colton Hardy back and forth with Michael Newman rounding out your top 5. Bill Hales in 6th. Clinton Woodby 7th, Jay Stinson in 8th, Joe Yates in 9th. Then there's Evan Schilling, who still sits in the pits, and so we may narrow it down now to only 9 trucks on the lead lap. And quick reminder here, as these guys do get ready to go back green, we'll show you where we head next here for the Asphalt Outlaws Racing Truck Series. And that is over to Talladega Superspeedway next Friday for 94 laps and what will be the final race before the championship. And boy, what a place to have it at. I mean, that screams wild card. You're going to have guys that are stressed out the entire race just trying to make it in on points that are in and just need to not get in a wreck. But we know how hard that is to do at a track like Talladega. And then you've got the guys that are just going to have to lay it all out there as they're doing tonight, try to get the win, as it may be their only chance to advance. And if you need a track to have the best chance at, look no further than a super speedway. The draft is the great equalizer. There's going to be a lot of guys that have a big chance at it next week. I think we're going to see a bigger field than we saw here tonight. And certainly looking forward to it. All right, so as we go back live now, looks like it's going to be actually 60. Yep, will be 65 laps to go. Exactly.
Green, green, green.
All right, green flag back in the air. 112 laps complete at Bristol. There's Colton Hardy as he fires off from that fourth position. 2x2 back in row number 3 and 4, but single filing out quickly here as they dive and climb the banking into turn number 3. David Traylor, he has been the leader for majority of this race. Only shared it with Clinton Woodby so far. Traylor looking to add another win onto the season. Can he get the job done here tonight? Hegdahl, by the way, who sits in second, talked about starting to catch him there as we were maybe slowly starting to creep into the middle portion of a run last time. But now you wonder how much short run speed does he have in comparison to David Traylor? Traylor still working the top. Hegdahl on the bottom. 115 of 175 laps complete. Clinton Woodby, he's still trying to make recovery after that self-spin that he was able to save and kept off the wall, but as a result now has himself buried back in the 7th position. Oh my goodness, and he does it again. I don't know how Clinton Woodby manages to continue to hold on to that truck. I mean, he has been on rails here tonight, but there's a couple times where he's almost came derailed. And right here was another one. Watch the work he's got to do with the wheel here as it just starts to snap around, trying to find a way to save it. Oh my goodness. All right, so now we turn our attention back towards the front of the field. There's David Traylor, who continues to lead. Eric Hegdahl, he's been hanging about 0.4 of a second behind Colton Hardy. And Mark Beverly hanging a little bit closer this time. They're still within a second. Put them all under a blanket. And then Michael Newman, good recovery for him since that initial spin at the start, as he now has himself back inside the top 5. And again, from what we understand now, we believe that everybody is back in the fuel window and good to make it from here. So I'm going to say we're not expecting any more green flag stops. It's just a matter of if, and if we do, how many more cautions will we get here to work our way closer and closer towards the end of this race. All right, we're going to take another quick break, but we'll go side by side so you don't miss a thing. Stick with us. We will be back at Bristol. Welcome back to Bristol Motor Speedway with the Sonic Graphic Design 175 second race in the round of 10 for the Asphalt Outlaws Racing Truck Series. And 134 of 175 laps complete. And on cue, caution is back out. Trouble for Jesse Wise, it looks like, as he was facing in the wrong direction. 69 at a standstill here down on the flat by the inside wall. Pace car will go by, as does Nelson. I'm not seeing much movement out of him right now. I'm not sure what's going on here. You wonder if... Oh, well, that truck is heavily damaged. And so if he's already used his fast spare, he may be contemplating here whether or not he wants to continue on, because that truck is not in a very good state of mind right now. Let's back it up here, see what happens to Jesse Wise. Go to the chopper view first, watch the 69 in the corner. 18 gets into the wall, and then the 69 just, it's just the same thing. It's happened to him 3 times here tonight for Jesse Wise, where he gets up to that top groove and on exit just snaps around on him right there, and then boom, that's a pretty big hit into the inside wall. That's what ripped off that left front fender there. Back this up here and go to a little bit of a different angle for you. Watch the TV static view. Now, Evan Schilling did have an issue, and you wonder if that maybe threw off his kind of line or what he was judging for his line a little bit, but it was, again, certainly some pretty significant contact. Let's watch as he slides down here. Boom. See the back tires lift up off the ground, and lucky that truck did stay down there, as sometimes you hit hard enough, you bounce back up the track, but once he got down, he decided to keep it to a stop. And I think for Jesse Wise, I'm not sure yet, but that may have been him deciding that he was ready to call it a night, as looks like he sits in the pits. Actually, he is disconnected from this race, so Jesse Wise has officially called it, and that will put even less cars now on the lead lap, and even still running in this race, as Jay Stinson, Clinton Woodby, Mark Beverly, Eric Hegdahl, and Evan Schilling looks like all decided to make pit stops. Schilling, of course, maybe still getting some damage repaired, but with the guys that stayed out, here's how they line up. It's going to be David Traylor scored as your leader, Colton Hardy in second, Bill Hales in third, Joe Yates back and forth with Michael Newman in fifth, Eric Hegdahl in sixth, Mark Beverly back in seventh. And so again, we get another strategy play here in terms of we've got guys that'll be on fresh tires versus guys that have a track position. Now, I like to call for David Traylor. You know, I just think with as many cautions as we've seen, and you know, we might see a couple more here towards the end, you just can't give up that track position at this point. It's just going to be way too tough to get it back. So I like that call for David Traylor, but hey, if you're somebody in the back or somebody that feels like you can afford to gamble and it's going to be the only way you have a shot at it, take the risk. Go take tires. Get back out here. But I think at this point, you just can't go back in. You just can't. I mean, to be fair, I guess there's not that many trucks left in the field, but you put that aside, and I just don't think you're going to have enough time to get back through here. If you take tires and you come out, even if you're 3 or 4 rows back, that leader gets away in a hurry here, and it takes some time to track them back down. And then one thing we haven't seen here tonight has been any form of an easy pass. So all those factors going to come into play right here for what's going to be, looks like 36 laps to go. We get the restart right here. Lights are off on the pace car. That means we are getting ready to get back to it. Colton Hardy on the outside. He is still looking for his first win of the season. And boy, he is in a great position to potentially go for it right here. Joe Yates looking to go back-to-back. Bill Hales, non-playoff driver, looking to play spoiler as green flag is back in the air. David Traylor gets a great jump. Colton Hardy, though, will be able to settle on into second. Joe Yates hot on the bumper of that 97 truck as Bill Hales tries to hold both of those two at bay on the bottom, but he's just not able to make it work right now. Looks like the 97 will get clear of that 53. Now the 87 looking to do the same here through one more set of corners. And will he get clear? Yes, he does. The 11 of Eric Hegdahl. He's going to get by as well. And the new tires marching forward early. Keep an eye on this 11 truck. If he can get by two of these other guys, that'll put him in second. And the only man he'll have to get by will be your leader, David Traylor. Hegdahl, that's a good sign right there. Look at this. Watch what he's able to do here on the bottom of the racetrack. He's passing these guys on the outside. That's something we have not seen at all the entire night. So that shows you that new tires, they certainly still make a noticeable enough difference here. And Hegdahl, just like that, he is going to get clear. And now he is up to second, and all of a sudden, I think David Traylor is going, oh boy, because he did not realize how quickly the 11 truck was going to tear through the field. He's got much fresher tires. And all David Traylor can do now is hope for maybe what he just got, and that is a caution. As we have got more trouble here. See who it is this time. I'm actually not seeing who it is this time so far. Looking around here. Don't see anybody spun around. Ooh, unless it was potentially Jesse Calloway. I couldn't tell who it was here. I don't think it was. We'll zoom this cam out a little bit and see if we can't find where this said incident takes place at. I feel like I hear a spin. There it is. And it is Evan Schilling again. Boy, it's been a pretty brutal night for Schilling. He's been involved in quite a few of these accidents. I guess we'll back this up here and go to another view. And pit lane 2 cam. It's off the corner, and then it's going to be... Well, I don't see anything from that view. Oh, well, that would be why. Schilling spun back here in 3 and 4. Did he get any help? I don't think so. I think he just gets loose. It's been the story all night. Happens yet again. Watch the 18 here as he gets into the corner. Well, that was interesting. That was weird. Almost sounded like he may have shifted down. I don't know why he would have done that, though. That can't be right. Let's see. Nope, never mind. Take that back. For a brief moment, I thought it sounded like he shifted down. He did not. That's just letting off. And the RPM's revving down, so right there just gets a little loose and just can't really hold on to it. Now, he does save it as he spins down the racetrack, gets going back in the right direction, doesn't get hit by anybody, doesn't hit anything, so does a good job in that aspect, but again, loses any sort of track position that he may have had. And so with the spin from Evan Schilling, that makes it now your 10th caution of the night. We are officially halfway towards the record-breaking amount of cautions that we had at Martinsville earlier on in the season, so I think we're doing pretty good here tonight. And it's going to be about 25 laps to go, it's looking like here when we get the green flag. David Traylor's still trying to hold on, but he is in a tough spot right now because Eric Hegdahl, who's on fresher tires, is going to line up here, probably on his inside, assuming that David takes the top. But I think that 11 is going to get by him here right out of the gate, and Eric Hegdahl, who felt like he kind of got, to a degree, basically screwed off a strategy play, not going in his favor last week, is now going to look to see if he can rebound with some strategy luck of his own here tonight, as the fresh tires are paying off in a big way right here. So Traylor chooses, of course, not to pit. Now I'm trying to think if David may have used all of his tires already. You got 4 sets in total with 1 already on the truck, so that gives you 3 laying in the pits. I wonder if David hasn't already used all of his tires. I know he's used at least 2 sets, and if he's used that 3rd set, that would maybe explain why he's decided to stay out. But if he hasn't, then it's just, of course, the idea that he feels track position is just way too important to give up, and I think I got to agree with that, at least as of right now, and it is going to be exactly 26 laps to go. We get the green flag right here, so we're approaching that point where I think at this, there's no tire saving. If you're anybody, whether you got old tires, new tires, anything in between, if you're Traylor here, you are defending for all you're worth. And interesting that he chose the bottom this time. We'll see how that pans out for him here. Maybe he's hoping that, I don't know here, maybe he's hoping he can box that 11 in. Whatever the strategy call is, we're getting ready to find out if it's going to work out. Here we go, green flag back in the air. 26 laps to go at Bristol. David Traylor quickly with a good entry into turn 1. Watch for the 11. How big of a run does he get here off of 2? There it is. Eric Hegdahl, he's going to look for the inside. Traylor will let him have it. Hegdahl working the bottom, and there is absolutely nothing that David Traylor can do. The 11 draws even. This time he'll get clear. I said he'd get clear. Not quite. He's getting close. And now if you're Hegdahl, though, you do have to be careful here. This is a little bit of a vulnerable spot. He needs to get this position here. If he stays side by side with Traylor too long, those tires could start to equalize out, but he feels confident enough staying on the bottom. It seems like David's a little bit better on the top in 1 and 2. Oh, I saw one almost go around. Joe Yates, did he save it? No, he didn't. Yates slid back onto the racing surface, so it'll bring out another caution. And it'll now give us a restart with even less to go. Probably about maybe 15 to 20 laps to go for this next restart that we're getting ready to see. Let's go back and look at Joe Yates. Just a classic case here of getting loose on exit to the corner. This is on entry here. Stinson's running really close, but Stinson never touches him. Yates just gets a little loose, realizes that he's going towards that inside wall, decides to try to turn it back right, and it works out pretty well. He does get it locked down before he goes completely back out onto the racetrack, and it's more so a slow slide than what could have been a big wreck. So no damage for Joe Yates through this, but again was running in the top 5, and he is going to lose that now. As scary moment still for a couple of guys that had to shoot by the outside, but we're still able to do so. Here's another view here from TV1. As there's Yates going around, there's the correction, and he still worked the wheel. Look, he's already back to the left because he knows it's starting to overcorrect to the right, and then realizes it's probably best to just lock it up, and by doing so, the truck actually is going to straighten itself back up a little bit right at the end of that. To give you final view here from the TV static cam. So it brings out now your 11th caution of the night. Again, 21 to go right now, but it's probably going to be closer to maybe 17 or 18 to go when we actually get the green flag. And so Eric Hegdahl is now being scored as your leader. David Traylor in second. Mark Beverly back in third with Clinton Woodby in fourth. Jay Stinson running out your top 5. Well, we talked to everybody so far here tonight in your top 5 except Jay Stinson, who currently sits there. So let's see if we can dial him up real quick. Hey Jay, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, what's up, Austin? You doing okay?
I'm doing good, man. Well, here you are. Maybe not the best night in terms of overall speed, but you found something here at the end, and you got yourself into the top 5. It's Bristol. Anything can happen. How you feel about your chances?
I'm not doing well here, buddy. I'm holding on for dear life. The reason why I'm up here is because other people have wrecked in cautions. It's been terrible, me trying to learn this. It's not that different, but it's enough to where I just can't figure it out, how to get in and out of turn. So it's been fun.
Certainly been fun to watch. You've heard a lot of drivers with the same struggle, but I know you said that you're up there just trying to hold on, but you know, you get up a couple more spots here, you're looking towards the lead. How much are you willing to put on the line to go for it here tonight?
Oh, I'll put it all on the line to get the win here. Win and you advance, buddy. That's what it's all about. So if I can make it happen, I'm going to.
Best way to do it. All right, Jay, we appreciate you talking to us. We'll let you go. Get ready for what could be a final restart.
I appreciate it, Austin. Thanks, buddy.
All right, there you go, Jay Stinson. He put it as blunt as I was trying to earlier, but I think he said it better because, you know, he's a driver and he's saying a win and you're in. So, hey, forget all this points nonsense. You win tonight. You don't even have to, well, you might have to show up next week, but you don't have to run well at all because you're already guaranteed a spot in that championship 5. You work all season, all the races, all the practice, all the time, and it can all come down to just a couple races as the green flag goes back in the air. Eric Hegdahl, first restart for him as the leader, and he gets a good one out of it. Clinton Woodby, he is now back into the mix as well. The 92 tried to sneak to the outside off a 2, but it couldn't make it work. David Traylor looking for a bit of a slide job here. The 54 on the bottom, he's got to commit. Oh, he realized he wasn't going to make it. He had the pail out of it on exit. Man, David Traylor got really, really close to making that one work, but now he's going to drop back 2 spots as he'll duck in third in line now. Clinton Woodby, Eric Hegdahl, those are not teammates. And so you wonder here if Woodby is able to stay close enough. Does he think about using the bump and run with the way these trucks are now? I don't know. There wasn't much passing opportunities. But Eric Hegdahl just looks so smooth and so fast right now. I'm not sure how long this 92 is going to be able to hang on, or maybe he can surprise me here and start to figure out a way to get back towards the back bumper, but he's fading slowly but surely as David Traylor continues to fade as well. He's back to almost a second as Colt Hardy now looks to challenge him. He'll go to the inside. Jay Stinson still hanging on up here, the 98, rounding out the top 5. Traylor's going to get into Colton Hardy. Huge hit for the 97 of Colton Hardy. Caution is out. Oh, man, that is not what Colton Hardy needed. Big damage to his 97 truck, and you see the initial reaction there. He's not happy about it. You cannot blame him. He was doing everything right all night, and That's just a mistake on the end of David Traylor there, going for it. He got out of the rhythm when he lost the lead, and he was trying to make something out of it there, but sometimes you try a little bit too hard, and that's exactly what can happen. So let's go back here and go to the cockpit view first here for David Traylor. He's on the outside here, and if there's no one on his inside, he might get away with saving this, but Colton Hardy's going to complete the pass, and David up top just gets a little bit loose. Like I said, he was just about at the point to steer out of it, but right before he did, he caught Colton Hardy, and that's a big hit, almost up and over, goes to 97 of Colton Hardy. So we'll take another look at this here from a couple different angles. Watch. As soon as they get off the corner here, Traylor knows he's loose. He is full wheel lock left, just trying to keep it from hitting Colton here, but he just can't do it. And then once he clips the 97, that's dead into the fence for Hardy. That's a big hit. That's going to destroy the front end of that race truck. And then Mark Beverly here, he's going to get some damage from this as well as he tries to sneak by. Looks like whatever damage he did get is going to be confined, I believe, to the left rear here. As, yep, so a good overall save there, at least for Mark Beverly. But in Colton Hardy, looks to me at least like he unfortunately got the worst of this one. Here's the onboard view and what he could see. Joe Yates looks like tapped him in the front end as well, as he also had nowhere to go. All right, so that brings out your 12th caution of the night, and now it'll give us a restart within 10 laps to go here, as David Traylor went in for any repairs needed, and if he had a set of tires, I'm sure he probably decided to use them now. But how about this now? Clinton Woodby, he's going to get another shot at it. Eric Hegdahl, he's got to be stressing because he knows if it would have stayed green, he was in the catbird seat right there. Now, I think he still maybe has the best truck for now, but I'm telling you, I think Woodby is maybe in a similar boat here to Jay Stinson. He's willing to put it all on the line. Now, you do see a P next to both of those drivers' names, indicating that they both are in the round of 10 playoffs. But if we actually look at where points stand right now, Eric Hegdahl sits in that second position. Clinton Woodby is back in 6th. That's one driver who's already currently in to make the championship 5, and one driver who is outside looking in. So, again, don't put it past here that Clinton Woodby doesn't maybe get a little risky here with trying to move that 11 up out of the groove if he needs to try to get a win here and not have to worry about it next week. All right, lights go off on the pace car, so they'll line back up. And again, Stinson, Newman, row 2. And back in row 3 for this restart, it's going to be Bill Hales and Mark Beverly. Joe Yates, Colton Hardy back up there. Now, the good news for Hardy here is that there's not that many people left on the lead lap. The bad news is that truck's pretty damaged, so I think he's hoping here either for a wreck, just to pick up some spots that way, or just to hold on to whatever sort of track position he still can. Saw a little bit of a checkup right there. Not sure what was going on, but here we go. Pace car is going to pull off, potentially for the final time, as it'll be 8 laps to go. Green flag back in the air. Bristol, look at this. Clinton Woodby gets a pretty good restart. Hegdahl, is he able to clear him? Not quite. Woodby, though, not going to be able to hold on to the bottom. He'll have to jump up here behind the 11. Oh, he wasn't able to do it. Look at this now. Michael Newman, he's going to throw his name into the mix here. Be coming to 7 laps to go. Newman, he has not been around pretty much all night, but he's been learning. He's been practicing, figuring out this truck. The new update, and here he is. Further back, they continue to battle it out for 5th and back. But up front, the battle for the lead, it is still 3 trucks strong. Any one of these guys can make a mistake here, and it's going to bring it all crumbling down. Hegdahl still running, looks like the best line right now, but Woodby looking a lane lower, trying to get some clean air. Anything he can do to figure out a way to get to this 11 truck. Got to be careful here. This is where you're pushing for all you're worth, and tonight, from what we've seen, when these guys start to push it, that's where the accidents have occurred. Oh, Woodby got a great corner that time. He's going to get even here and looks to the inside into turn number 3. This is what we came to see, that battle that you get at the end of these Bristol races. And right there, Michael Newman gave a shot to the back of that 92, and he's going to go around. Oh, Clinton Woodby spins out. Caution is out. He was going for it, and he is no longer going to be going for it, as there's a couple things that I wonder of what could have potentially caused this one here. But now this will send us into what will be our first overtime here of the night. So the first thing that I'm wondering right here is if that shot from Michael Newman maybe gave him a little bit more speed into the corner than he was expecting. Let's go back to the chopper view first and see if we can figure this out. I don't know that that was necessarily the case, but certainly something worth taking a peek at here. So first, there's the chopper view. As there's the little shot. It wasn't much, but I don't think it was that. No, it certainly wasn't, because they were already about halfway through the corner, and then the 92 just starts to get loose. This time it was a bit of a slower spin than what we've seen in some of the previous accidents, but it's happened to Woodby a couple times here tonight where he's pushing it, and he shows a lot of speed out of that truck, but the problem is that on the flip end, he also can get himself into trouble as he did right here, and round he went, was able to get it 360 back in the right direction, but still lost the track position that he would have needed to have a chance at this thing here at the end. And there's the little bump, into the corner he goes, and then right here it's starting to step out on him. Slowly it's starting to step out, and it's just going to get worse. He's trying to drive out of it here without fully committing to bailing out of the gas, but once you get around about that far, there's nothing you can do at that point. And then does Jay Stinson hit the back of Michael Newman here? I don't think he does, or if he does, it's just ever so slightly. And then Woodby here is going to spin down to the apron. So we get it back going. All right, so let's go back live. It's going to be a 2-lap shootout to decide it here at the last Great Coliseum. Got to make it to the white flag for this race to be official. 13 cautions so far, and it is Eric Hegdahl being scored as your leader. And now it's Michael Newman, the man who's in position to potentially get a win. And we talked about points between Woodby and Hegdahl. Michael Newman is dead last in points right now. He is in 10th. So he's one of those drivers that I said he kind of needs a win more than anything. There's really no way he's going to point his way, and I wouldn't think so. Michael Newman, same boat as Woodby here. What are you willing to lay on the line for it? We're getting ready to find out. Behind him, though, Jay Stinson, another driver in a great position now late. Then Mark Beverly, who sits back currently in that 4th position. Bill Hales rounds out your top 5. Joe Yakes in 6th. Colton Hardy 7th. David Traylor in 8th. Evan Schilling in 9th. And Clinton Woodby currently rounds out your top 10. All right, we'll see if we get the one to go signal this next time. I would assume we would. Boy, Eric Hegdahl, I'm sure his heartbeat right now his heart rate has got to be well over 100 beats per minute, because he knows he is potentially one win away right here from locking himself into a Championship 5 appearance. Boy, that would mean a lot to him, being on that team, losing his teammates middle of the season, to see if he could find a way to still get to the championship without that extra help. So we're getting ready to find out. Mark Beverly, another driver, what's he going to do here on the outside? If he can get to the outside of the 12, he might have a shot at it. But if you're Michael Newman, you got to get an even restart here with the 11. If he catches you sleeping at all, I think any chance of trying to go for the win or anything of that nature is probably going to go out the window. So here we go. Overtime number 1. Will we finish it up here, or will we see overtime number 2? Can Eric Hegdahl hold on, or can Michael Newman steal one of the most clutch times of the season? Green flag in the air, and he catches the 12 sleeping. Michael Newman, that's not the restart he needed to get, as Eric Hegdahl is quickly going to pull away with the lead into turn number 1. Michael Newman tries to slide up. It's not going to be enough to get clear. Back into turn 3 they go. Working to see the white flag. Eric Hegdahl, he'll get it. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go at Bristol. 1 and 2. Clean out back. They're starting to get a little racy. Michael Newman, he's close, but he's not going to be close enough. Eric Hegdahl from O'Power is going to add his 3rd win of the season, and it comes at Bristol. Locks himself into the Championship 5. We've got 2 of the 5 spots locked up. Who is going to fill in the other one? Well, what a finish it was, but Eric Hegdahl, tire strategy, it paid off for him. He was the most dominant after he took those fresh tires. Never looked back from that point. I think that's a fairly deserving win, you got to say, there for the 11, as he'll bring it around here to burn it down. As he does, let's take a look at your finishing results here tonight. Again, bringing home the win is Eric Hegdahl. Michael Newman finishes in 2nd. Mark Beverly back in that 3rd spot. Joe Yakes in 4th. Bill Hales in 5th. Jay Stinson in 6th. Colton Hardy 7th, David Traylor back in 8th, Clinton Woodby 9th, and Evan Schilling rounding out your top 10. Jonathan Herbert 11th, Jesse Wise in 12th, Jesse Calloway 13th, Keith Prince in 14th, Dennis Steele in 15th, Brody Benty rounds out the field tonight. He finishes in 16th. All right, we're going to go see if we can get your top 3 in here for interviews. Stick with us. We will be right back at Bristol. All right, we're going to start first here tonight with your third place finisher, Mark Beverly. Mark, this is Austin in the booth. Got a copy.
Yeah, what's up?
Well, you bring home a podium finish in what was kind of becoming a race of attrition right there towards the end, especially. A lot of cautions, but overall, bringing out a podium. What's this going to mean for your chances going into Talladega?
Well, I think I got some pretty good points here, and hopefully that gets me past to the next round in case we have a surprise winner. So I think we might be all right to get to the championship and have a chance. But crazy race. The new package was definitely different, and you had to drive them a little bit and keep the wheels under you. So it seemed like guys were slipping here and there. But overall, pretty decent race.
Certainly was, and a decent finish at that. Next week at Talladega, it's going to be a crazy one. So before we let you head out, is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, shout out to everybody out there watching, and shout out to you, put on a good show for us, and shout out to our sponsors.
Thank you, of course, for talking to us. Again, congrats on the third place finish, Mark, and we'll see you next week at Talladega.
Yeah, copy that. We'll see you next week.
All right, and now that'll bring us to your second place finisher here tonight, Michael Newman. Michael, this is Austin in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, you bring home second, but man, 10th in the points. How big a win would have been? You came close. What more do you think you needed on that last restart?
A little bit of a cleaner restart from what Eric and I were just talking about, but other than that, I needed to not wreck right away earlier in the race. I felt like I had a truck all race, and then from that, it was kind of racing on eggshells, trying to figure out the new handling of the truck and that. But yeah, needed a win. That's the only way that we're going to advance to the championship. So Dega is going to be big next week.
Certainly is. Well, before we let you head out here tonight, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, thank you to you for putting this on every single week. The Beverly Brothers, as we always say, for putting on the league in the first place. Thank you for my girlfriend for watching this each and every week, even though she wasn't huge in the NASCAR. I think I had a coworker watching today as well, so thank you to him. And then all the sponsors for the league as well.
Thank you, of course, for talking to us. Again, congrats on the second place finish tonight, Michael. We'll see you next week at Talladega.
See you next week.
All right, now that'll bring us to your race winner, Eric Hegdahl from O-Power. Eric, this is Austin in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, but I got you.
Well, you get the job done at Bristol, and man, it seems like everything changed with the tire strategy. Break us down. What made you decide to make that call? And almost feels like a little bit of redemption for the strategy play going the opposite direction last week.
Yeah, I tell you, it's definitely it makes up for the loss last week. I was pretty down after last week, but this week I was not looking forward to this race at all. I'm just never been good here, and this new update, the trucks drive completely different, and I feel like it helps me and helps my driving style. So it worked out. Started in the back. Wasn't really comfortable being up there in the beginning, and avoided all the carnage. And I felt like I had pretty good speed. And before that stage break, I saw some of the guys stay out, or some of the guys pit. So I felt like, at that point, I didn't feel like I had a shot at winning anyway. So I stayed out, and it ended up working out. But overall, tonight went a lot better than I was anticipating.
Certainly did. And now that you've got that win out of the way, next week pressure is off. So what's going to be the plan at Talladega?
I'd, try to win like normal, but I don't have any teammates anymore. I'm a lone wolf, so that allows me to, if I can't win, I can choose who I want to win. So takes the pressure off me, and we'll see what happens at Talladega.
Certainly will. Well, before we let you head out here tonight to go celebrate, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, shout out you for putting on a great broadcast every week. Can't wait to go back and watch this one. Sonic Graphic Design, our all the fellow competitors on track. I felt like it was still a pretty good race considering there was quite a bit of yellows, winning bid diecast auctions, and the admins for putting this on.
Thank you, of course, for talking to us again. Congrats on the win, and we will see you next week.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, well, that's just about going to wrap up our coverage. Eric Hegdahl, Joe Yates, the two drivers now officially locked into the Championship 5. That leaves room for 3 more, and we're going to decide those 3 next week at the fastest, baddest, and most wild track in NASCAR, Talladega Superspeedway. Make sure you tune in for that one. It's going to be a fun one. As for tonight, thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, I hope you enjoyed. That'll do it for me, Austin Green, here on Ghost Racing Network. Until next time, have a good night.